Vasudeva Praveda Vasudeva Pramakha Vasudeva Prayoga Vasudeva Prakriyaha Vasudeva Parangyanam Vasudeva Paranchapaha Vasudeva Parodharmo Vasudeva Paragachati Om Ajnana Chamarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Srinadapi Sunichena Charad Iva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Harinama 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 Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasyeva 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 Gatir Anyata Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Navrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jigyasitam susampanam apite mahad adbhutam kritavan bharatam yastvam sarvartha paribringhitam. Sri Narada Muni said, O Vyasadeva, your inquiries were full, and your studies were also well fulfilled. And there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Maha-Bharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences explained elaborately. Achintya kalu ye bhava natang starkena yojayet prakritibhya paranyascha tad achintyasya lakshanam. Anything transcendental to material nature is known as achintya, inconceivable, whereas arguments are all mundane. Now, since mundane arguments cannot touch transcendental subject matters, one should not try to understand things that are achintya through mundane arguments and so-called reasoning. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Maha-Bharata, Part 1, Chapter 5, The Martial Exhibition. Among Drona's pupils, Bhima and Duryodhana were deadly rivals, and both became matchless in mace fighting. Yudhishthir was the greatest spearman and chariot fighter, while Nakula and Sahadev were the best swordsmen. Ashvatthama showed the greatest ability at mystical weapons. However, Arjuna excelled everyone in all respects. He became Atiratha, a warrior capable of fighting 60,000 other warriors alone simultaneously. This only increased the envy Dhritarashtra's sons felt towards Arjuna, as well as toward his brother, the mighty Bhima. And so it was, one day, Drona decided to test the abilities of his students. He placed an artificial bird high up in a tree. Calling together all the princes, he said to each of them, "Now, take your bows and aim for the eye of the bird. One by one I shall call you forward to shoot." The first to be called was Yudhishthir, and when he placed an arrow on his bow and aimed, Drona said, "O Prince, tell me what you see." Yudhishthir replied that he saw his brothers, Drona, the tree, and the bird. Again and again Drona asked Yudhishthir what he saw, and each time received the same reply from Yudhishthir. Drona then reproached him, telling him to stand down without even firing his arrow. "Nah, you will not be able to hit the mark." Duryodhana was the next to be called, and when he was ready to fire his arrow, Drona asked him the very same question. Duryodhana replied just as Yudhishthir had, and again Drona told him to stand down. One by one the princes were called, and each responded to Drona Acharya in the same way, and so none of them were allowed to shoot at the bird. Then finally Arjuna was called, and when he was prepared to shoot, and was standing with his bow drawn in a semicircle, Drona said, "Now, tell me what you see. Can you see myself, your brothers, and the tree?" "O Guru Dev, I see only the bird. I cannot see you or my brothers, nor the tree." Drona was pleased. He waited one moment and then asked, "Now, if you can see the bird, please describe it to me." "I only see the bird's head. I cannot see its body." Drona felt his hair standing on end with delight. "Shoot!" Arjuna released his arrow, and it struck the wooden bird directly in the eye, sending it tumbling to the ground. With tears of joy, Drona Acharya embraced his disciple, as Duryodhana and his brothers looked on in anger. Sometime after that, Drona went with the princes to the Ganga to bathe, and as he entered the water, Drona was seized by a fierce crocodile. Although capable of freeing himself, Drona cried out, "O princes, quickly kill this beast and rescue me!" The princes were confounded with sorrow at seeing their teacher held by the crocodile. They froze in fear, everyone except Arjuna. Instantly he fired 5 arrows which struck the reptile under the water, cutting it to pieces. The crocodile's mouth fell open and released Drona's leg. Drona came to the riverbank and took Arjuna aside, and then said to him, "I wish to give you the greatest of weapons. Now take from me the knowledge of Brahmastra, the irresistible missile endowed with the power of Lord Brahma himself. This weapon should be used only against supernatural foes, for if released against others, why, it may destroy the entire world." Drona then told Arjuna that no one would ever become superior to him with the bow. Now Arjuna was invincible. Now, seeing that the princes had become expert in arms and warfare, Drona went to Dhritarashtra and said, "O king, your sons have completed their education. So now, with your permission, they may now display their proficiency. Let me therefore arrange an exhibition." Dhritarashtra thanked Drona for instructing the princes and replied, "I do indeed envy those who will be able to witness the prowess of my sons. I shall attend the display with Vidura, who will act as my eyes. With his assistance, please make the preparations, O best of Brahmanas." Vidura and Drona then went outside of the city and selected a large flat piece of land. After sanctifying the spot with prayers and offerings to the gods, Drona had skilled architects construct a great stadium. It had a vast central area and platforms rising on all 4 sides. Wealthy merchants sponsored the installation of thousands of beautiful seats carved from wood and inlaid with ivory and pearls. Rows of golden thrones, encrusted with coral and gems, were built on the royal platform. The sides of the stadium reached up to the sky and were adorned with tall white flagstaffs bearing colored pennants that fluttered in the breeze. And so, on an auspicious day, determined by the royal astrologers, the citizens entered the stadium, eager to see the princes display their power. Bhishma and Vidura, leading Dhritarashtra by the arm, walked at the head of the procession. Immediately they were followed by Drona and Kripa, along with other members of the royal party, such as Bhalika, Somadatta, and other kings visiting from surrounding kingdoms. The royal ladies came out of the city, dressed in dazzling robes and ornaments, accompanied by numerous maids in waiting. The ladies ascended the royal platforms like goddesses ascending the holy Mount Meru. Crowds of citizens from all 4 castes thronged into the stadium, marveling at its beauty. Large sections were built of pure gold and were studded with priceless Vaidurya gems. It was decorated with countless garlands of bright flowers and strings of pearls. The sound of people filling the stadium was like the surging ocean. Trumpets blew and drums were beaten, mixing with the blasts of thousands of conch shells and the excited talk of the people. When everyone was seated, Drona entered the arena with his son Ashvatthama. He wore white robes and white garlands, and his body was smeared white with sandalwood paste. His hair and beard were also white, and with his powerful son, Drona looked like the moon accompanied by the planet Mars. The noise of the crowd subsided as Drona entered. Drona then had a large number of brahmanas perform auspicious rites in the arena. The mantras echoed around the stadium. Expert musicians simultaneously played their instruments, creating a sound that pleased and calmed the audience who sat in expectation. The princes then entered the arena, headed by Yudhishthir, and striding like proud, mighty lions. They were clad in brilliant armors, equipped with every kind of weapon. Drona ordered them to show off their different skills. Beginning with Yudhishthir, the princes stepped forward one by one. They mounted swift horses and rode them expertly, wheeling about the arena and hitting both still and moving targets with arrows engraved with their respective names. Thousands of arrows sped in all directions, and some of the citizens ducked in fear. Others were fearless, their eyes wide with wonder. Sounds of "Excellent! Well done!" resounded throughout the stadium. The princes' skills at weaponry, horseback riding, and chariot driving were breathtaking. And after displaying all these skills, they pulled out their gleaming blue swords and rushed, shouting at one another. They thrust and parried, adroitly dodging each other's attacks. The people witnessed with delight the grace, speed, and strength of all the princes. Drona then had Bhima and Duryodhana step forward to display their mace fighting. The two heroes glared at each other, bellowing like furious bulls. Holding aloft massive iron maces, they circled, each with his gaze fixed upon the other. As Vidura described the scene to Dhritarashtra, and Kunti described to Gandhari, the two princes aimed terrific blows at each other. Their maces collided with thunderous crashes, sending showers of sparks into the air. The crowd then became divided, some supporting Bhima, while others supporting Duryodhana. Shouts filled the stadium. "Behold the mighty Bhima! Just see the powerful Duryodhana!" Drona realized that the fight was becoming too earnest, and he also saw that the people were becoming too excited. He told his son to step in between the roaring rivals and stop them. Ashvatthama obeyed his father, and moving quickly forward, managed to separate the two princes. When Bhima and Duryodhana had stood down, still glaring at each other, Drona stepped into the middle of the arena. He stopped the musicians and spoke in a voice which resounded like thunder. "Behold now the abilities of Arjuna. He is dearer to me than my own son. This Arjuna, son of Indradeva, is incomparable at every kind of martial skill." As Drona was speaking, Arjuna entered the arena, clad in golden armor, with a large golden quiver of arrows on his back. The lustrous prince appeared like a cloud reflecting the rays of the evening sun and illumined by a rainbow and flashes of lightning. The invincible prince walked with the gait of a lion, and as he glanced about the arena, Arjuna terrified all those upon whom his eyes fell. A cry of joy went up from the audience. People blew conch shells and played musical instruments. This handsome youth is Kunti's third son, and he is the best of all virtuous men and the most powerful. He is the son of the mighty Indra and is the best protector of the Kuru race. All kinds of praises were heard from the crowd. Hearing these, Kunti felt milk flow from her breasts, and along with her tears, drenching her bosom. Dhritarashtra asked Vidura why the people were shouting so joyously. When Vidura told Dhritarashtra that it was because Arjuna had appeared, Dhritarashtra said, "Oh, how blessed I am by Kunti's 3 sons. Why, they are like 3 sacrificial fires, and Kunti is like the sacred fuel itself." But secretly, Dhritarashtra burned within himself. Why had the people not cheered his own sons in this way? Was not Duryodhana Arjuna's equal? Oh, if only he could actually see what was happening. Vidura described the scene to the blind king. Arjuna displayed one celestial weapon after another. With the Agneya weapon, Arjuna produced fire. With the Varuna weapon, he produced volumes of water. With the Vayavya weapon, Arjuna caused a great wind to blow. And with the Parjanya weapon, Arjuna created a huge downpour of rain. Arjuna created land with the Vauma weapon, and with the Parvatya weapon, Arjuna made a hill appear in the arena. Then, by invoking the Antardhan weapon, he made all these things disappear. As the citizens gasped, Prince Arjuna displayed all kinds of mystic powers. One moment, he appeared as tall as a massive palm tree, and in the next moment, he became as small as a thumb. In an instant, he went from standing on his chariot to standing on the ground some distance from his chariot. Drona Acharya then had a mechanical iron boar run swiftly across the arena, and Arjuna shot 5 arrows into its mouth as if they were one shaft. Arjuna shot 20 arrows into the hollow of a cow's horn swinging from a rope around a pole. After showing his skill with a bow, Arjuna took out his sword and mace, demonstrating with them both much dexterity. The exhibition was now almost over. The music had stopped, and the crowd's excitement had cooled off. Suddenly they heard at the gate the sound of someone slapping his arms with great force and roaring like an enraged elephant. Obviously, some hugely powerful man had arrived. The people looked around for the source of the sounds. Are the mountains cracking asunder? Is the earth itself splitting apart? Maybe some jealous god has come, wishing to display his might here in the arena. Drona jumped up and stood surrounded by the 5 Pandavas. They resembled the moon, surrounded by bright stars. Duryodhana stood with his 100 brothers like Indra along with the celestials. Everyone simply looked towards the gate. Coming toward them was a warrior who looked like the blazing sun itself. He had a brilliant coat of mail, which was a natural part of his body, and he was adorned with earrings which shone like fire. The earth resounded with his steps, and he seemed like a moving hill. The crowd was motionless. They stared at the new arrival. "Oh, who is this?" The handsome youth strode straight up to Drona Acharya. He bowed somewhat indifferently at his feet, then offered his respects to Kripa Acharya. Turning once again to Drona, he spoke in a voice that could be heard throughout every part of the stadium. "I am Karna, and with your permission, O Brahmana, I shall now show skills equal to those of Arjuna." "Indeed, I shall excel all the feats displayed by Kunti's son. Watch me now and be amazed." The crowd stood up together as if lifted by some instrument. They roared and cheered. Arjuna felt embarrassed and angry. He clenched and unclenched his fists, which were covered with iguana skin finger protectors. Arjuna's eyes seemed to be on fire as he glared at Karna. Drona nodded his approval, and Karna moved to the center of the arena. At once he began to show his skills. He matched every feat Arjuna had displayed, and the crowd shouted their approval as well. When Karna had finished, Duryodhana went over, warmly embracing Karna. Here was someone who could stand against the haughty Arjuna. That Pandava prince had been the center of attention for too long. Now here was someone who was his equal. Duryodhana laughingly said to Karna, "Oh, mighty hero, you are welcome. By good fortune you have come here today. Tell me, what can I do for your pleasure? For I and the Kuru kingdom are at your command." Duryodhana had noticed Arjuna's anger. He smiled at the Pandava as Karna replied, "Simply by your words, I already consider my desire fulfilled. I only wish for your undying friendship. But I do have one request. Please allow me to engage in single combat with Arjuna." Arjuna stiffened and grasped his bow. The minute he had seen the obviously arrogant Karna, Arjuna had felt an intense rivalry. Maybe now he would get the chance to end this immediately. Duryodhana laughed. "Enjoy with me the good things of life, O hero, for together we shall reside in happiness." Arjuna had heard enough. He interrupted Duryodhana in a thunderous voice. "O Karna, the path belonging to the unwelcome intruder or the uninvited speaker shall now be yours." Karna smoldered like a glowing ember of fire. "O Partha, this arena is not meant for you alone. Why, it is open to all heroes, including those superior to you." "Why do you argue with words alone? Those who are actually strong do not waste their words. Speak now with your arrows, and I shall sever your head before the eyes of your guru." Arjuna turned to Drona, who nodded slightly. Fixing his gaze upon Karna, the Pandava advanced for combat. Duryodhana embraced Karna, who then went before Arjuna, his weapons at the ready. Suddenly the sky was filled with heavy clouds and bright flashes of lightning. Indra's great rainbow appeared overhead. The clouds above Karna, however, dispersed, and the sun shone brightly, lifting up his form. Dhritarashtra's sons stood behind Karna, while Drona, Kripa, and Bhishma stood behind Arjuna. Meanwhile, in the terraces, the crowd became divided. The royal ladies also could not choose between the two heroes. As they faced each other, Kunti was filled with horror, and she fainted. Vidura was surprised to see this, and raised her gently, sprinkling her face with cool water. He asked her what was wrong, but Kunti said nothing. She simply sat holding her head. How could she tell anyone the secret that she had kept hidden for so long? Seized by fear, Kunti looked at the arena, and feeling helpless, silently she prayed to Krishna. And just as the two warriors were about to duel, Kripa Acharya, who knew all the rules of combat, stepped forward and said, "This son of Pandu is the child of Kunti and a descendant of the royal Kuru race. Let us hear from his opponent what is his lineage and race. Once we know this, Partha may then decide whether or not to fight." Kripa Acharya then looked directly at Karna, indicating that duels were fought only among equals. Karna blushed and said nothing. It was clear that he was not from a royal line. Seeing his discomfiture, Duryodhana spoke out. "Nobility does not depend only upon birth. Those who are heroes and leaders of soldiers may also claim nobility, even if not born in royal lines. But if Arjuna will duel only with another king, then I shall immediately give Karna a kingdom." And so, without delay, Duryodhana arranged for a ceremony right there in the arena. He sent someone to fetch sanctified water and sprinkled it upon Karna's head. "Today you shall become the king of Anga." The crowd cheered as Brahmanas chanted appropriate mantras and offered rice, flowers, and holy water to Karna. Karna sat upon a golden seat and was fanned with yak-tail whisks. He was deeply moved by Duryodhana's gesture of friendship and replied in a choked voice, "What can I ever do to repay you, O king? I shall always be at your command." "O Karna, your friendship alone is all that I desire." And when the two men embraced each other, the citizens became even more excited. Then, just as the duel between Karna and Arjuna seemed about to commence, another man suddenly ran into the arena. He was trembling with age and supported himself on a staff. Perspiring, and with his cloth hanging loosely from his body, he moved quickly towards Karna. At once Karna got down from his seat and placed his head, still wet from the coronation, at this man's feet. He stood up and then said to the inquisitive Duryodhana, This is my father, Adiratha. Adiratha had been present in the crowd and wanted to congratulate his son upon his coronation. He himself was a charioteer and was instantly recognized as such by his dress and name. He embraced his son tightly and shed tears of happiness. Seeing all this, Bhima jeered. A son of a charioteer? You do not deserve death at Arjuna's hands. You had best take up the whip and guide a chariot. Indeed, you no more deserve the kingship of Anga than a dog deserves the sacrificial offerings of ghee meant for the gods. Karna looked down in embarrassment. Duryodhana rose up in anger from the midst of his brothers like an infuriated elephant rising out of a lake full of lotuses. "Oh, Bhima, you should not be speaking like this. How can someone like Karna be of inferior birth? Why, the first quality of a hero is one's strength and prowess, and we have all seen Karna's power today." Duryodhana then named different gods and heroes whose births had also been unusual. Why, Drona himself was said to be born from a pot, Kripa from grass, and the great god Kartikeya from a clump of reeds. Indeed, even the Pandavas' births were mysterious. Can a deer bring forth a lion? Look at this man, his natural coat of armor, and all of the marks of auspiciousness on his body. I do not consider him to be a charioteer whatsoever. Defiantly, Duryodhana gazed at the Pandavas. "If anyone dislikes my having crowned Karna the king of Anga, then let him step forward and bend his bow in combat." Now the crowd was roused by Duryodhana's heroic speech. They cheered and sat expectingly. Now there would surely be a great duel between the two mighty heroes. But during Duryodhana's speech, the sun had set. The dispute would have to be settled yet another day. Duryodhana then took Karna by the hand, leading him out of the arena, which was now lit by countless lamps. The Pandavas also left, along with Drona, Kripa, and Bhishma. The citizens then returned to their homes. Some of them named Arjuna, and some named Karna, while others pointed to Duryodhana as the ultimate victor of the day. And within herself, Kunti Devi thanked Krishna. As she watched her son Karna leave the arena, her mind went back to the day of his birth. She had only wanted to test Durvasa Muni's boon. She had no idea that the mantra would prove so powerful. Kunti remembered how she had been lying on her couch, watching the brilliant sun rise over the Ganga. What if she could call the sun god? The mantra then came to her mind, and almost at once the blazing Surya Deva was standing before her. Kunti became amazed, but then horrified, when Surya told her that he would not leave without giving her a child. But I am yet a maiden. What will everyone say? But Surya Dev smiled, and by his prowess she would conceive a son and still remain a virgin maiden. And so it happened. Surya Dev left, and in due course of time, the boy was born. Kunti had marveled at the baby's natural golden armor and earrings, the very same armor and earrings she had seen on Karna as he marched into the arena. Kunti recalled how that armor had shone in the morning sun as the boy floated away in his basket down the river. Kunti wept once again as she recalled how she could not even tell anyone that she had given birth, and how, blinded by tears, she had pushed the baby onto the flowing river waters. Adiratha must have found the basket and raised her son. And as Karna strode off with Duryodhan, Kunti led Gandhari back to the palace.
Namaste Narasimhaya Praklad Aklada Dayane Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha Shilatanka Nakalaye Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimho Yato Yamitato Nrsimha Bahir Nrsimho Hridaye Nrsimho Nrsimham Adim Sharanam Prapatye Namaste Narasimhaya Avakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Lalita Hiranya Kashipo Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahadi Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Nrsimha Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Jagadisha Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jvalantam Sarvato Mukam Nrsingham Vishanam Bhadram Mrityur Mrityum Namami Aham. I bow down to Lord Narasingha, who is most ferocious and heroic, just like Lord Vishnu himself. Nrsimha Dev is burning from every side. Lord Nrsimha is terrific, auspicious, and the death of death personified. Om Tat Sat. when the battle was over and the Lord was ready to leave, someone approached his chariot and she began to plead. Dear Lord, are you leaving us now? You know the time is not right. For now the enemy will surely come, simply looking for a fight. As the name and fame of everything finishes at death, so if you do not look on us, then there'll be nothing left. All the cities and villages flourish in every way, all because of your soothing glance you kindly throw each day. You are the son of Vasudev, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda and the cowherd men, the source of all that be. You're the master of the senses, invisible to all. Come to earth in this human form, and yet you never fall. Like the beauty of the lotus, your form has been compared with blackish skin and reddish lips and locks of curling hair. My Lord, you saved us every time we thought the end was near. But now I clearly understand there was no need to fear. I wish that all those dangers would happen over and over again, 'cause only then do I remember you, and birth and death come to an end. Kindly sever my affection for my family and friends, for it is based on this bag of skin and not the soul within.